Getting off press for me was a priority. And I never print, and I trust my guys. I have two printers. I trust them more than I trust me.
Squeegee Ink Podcast Season 2. This podcast is sponsored by Blind Maggot, Magna Colours, M&R, Target Transfers, and Adobe Creative Suite.
My name's Jonathan. I own Success Print Shop in Texas. I've been printing for I guess it's 10 years, but I've been full-time for the last 5 years. So that's who we are. I got a team of about 6, but we can get into it more, but that's us.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you ages ago, and I'm sure you did a whole shop tour or something, because I was really interested in your premises. And have you done a shirt show interview as well? Maybe I saw that.
Yeah, I've done 2 actually with them.
Yeah, that might be it. Because I've got all this information about you, but I haven't put it all together. So can we start with explaining, because you have quite an unusual premises, don't you? Is it on your family's land, and then you've kind of just built it to what you need?
That's exactly right. Yeah, so the shop is on 20 acres of private property, my parents' property. It started, it's totally rent free. It's in the middle of nowhere in Texas, so don't have to deal with no city codes or anything. We do whatever we want out there. Literally, we can walk outside and go shoot guns right outside of the shop. No big deal. It's because there's that much land. But yeah, the actual shop is what you probably have seen is is that Dr.Pepper?
Yes, I had to have a Dr.Pepper. I'm yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
Do they look the same in America? Yours are bigger, aren't they?
Oh shoot. Yours looks like 1990s.
Are we getting ripped off?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks different for sure, but I was kind of surprised y'all had it. But that's huge here in Texas. People love Dr. Pepper. But yeah, my shop, it started as a shipping container, which you've probably seen.
Yeah.
And I literally put a manual press in there. I had to cut out a little piece of the side so that the press could spin. And I think I did that for manual press for 3 years, maybe 2 years, and working in there, and I had the conveyor. Everything was in there. My office was in there. It was very tight space. I mean, that's only 300 square feet. It's not very big at all. But I was busy enough, and I finally made the move to automatic, and that's when so if this is the shipping container, and then I put a metal building connected to the shipping container, and in that metal building is where the auto sits. The conveyor dryer sits here, so auto here, shirts getting shot into the shipping container, and that's how it was for a couple years. And then I added another shipping container, because those shipping containers they're so ideal, because they're freaking done already. It's they're small for sure, and they're narrow, but the 2 I bought were $3,000 each, and I had to just put insulation and the AC in it, and it's done. I mean, in a lot of cases, concrete alone would be $3,000. You know what I mean, to put for a metal building. So it's kind of allowed me to move, grow organically, and not just boom, get a big old building and all at once. Kind of just so the second shipping container I have now is my screen room, but yeah, that's where my shop sits. And it's 300 feet away from the house.
Yeah. But even from the beginning, years ago, when you first came on my radar, you've always got this level of professionalism. And I feel that's probably the first word that you can use to describe you, even though you're in
thank you.
Slightly weird commercial unit. It's you've done it with your website is very clean. You're really guiding the customer, how to do everything. And I don't know, it just seems all your response rates are really quick, and you just seem really dialed in. But it might be a complete mess in there, but I doubt it. It's just that's just the impression that you
no, I mean, I've spent in those early years of going full time, and I mean, it was all I did for is all I did. I worked in the shop all the time, so I had a lot of time to work on my website and figure out the processes for like that I wanted in the shop. And I mean, I was still like working on processes and figuring the best way to do things. But honestly, you just want to try. I mean, obviously, you just want to try to make life easier for your employees and make sure they enjoy coming to work. So you're kind of always looking for the better things to do where it's not a headache coming to work all the time. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah. So like, have you done a lot of reading and stuff? Like, are you being guided by doing a lot of reading and like quite intense stuff like that? Because you're saying words like, I'm just streamlining and processes, or like who inspires you?
Yeah. That's like my biggest, like, I guess, learning or advice to anybody trying to do anything is like, there's people who already like paved the way. There's people already did what you want to do. So it's just like, listen to those podcasts, listen to those books. I mean, there's like literally an unlimited amount of like podcasts and articles and YouTube videos. It's like all there, all the answers are there. So yeah, 100%. I consume all that, all the time. Honestly, when you're like manually printing, which I haven't done that in forever, but when I used to do it, the Printavo podcast at the time, I listened to those over and over again. And that I just loved listening to that stuff. So when you're like, that's like one good benefit of manually printing. You can just like crush an audiobook, you know what I mean? Like during a long run of shirts. So I remember, during those years of manually printing, I just consumed so much of that information. So yeah, I learned a lot through audiobooks and podcasts and YouTube videos and all that.
Yeah.
Now there's the shirt show freaking, like look forward to that every Monday. So it's like, there's a lot of information to consume, to learn and better yourself.
Yeah, maybe even too much, because I got into a really bad habit. I'm on like a subscription with my Audible, and then I was just getting more and more and more books, and then I wasn't really like practicing in real life what I was learning. I was just like, what's the next book? What's the next cool thing?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've actually stopped buying them and spending my credits, and I'm going back and rereading old books, because you're always going to be in a slightly different mindset and like experience wise in your business, so you
different stage in your life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like maybe even revisiting old books is even better, because they'll say something new the next time around.
They'll 100%. They're like resonate with you more because you're going through that in your life. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, but can I talk about your team? Because it's like you've got that's a relatively sizable team. Like you must be having like quite a lot of experiences with hiring people, maybe bit of firing as well. But like, can you tell me about your experience of like how you're finding people? Because I'm always hearing that there's like a work shortage over there. Like you can't get the right people in the right jobs. But have you found any difficulties there?
Yeah, I mean, the team is like, it's like the best thing ever to have a team that's experienced, but it's also like the worst part of the business. So it's super weird. If you have like if you have a trained up team that knows what they're doing, they're dependable, they show up, is literally the best thing ever. I mean, I can be away from the shop. I could do a podcast during the middle of the day. You know what I mean? Like with you, like it's the best thing ever. But if you've got someone you having to babysit and like teach them and like tell them like not to be late to work, I mean, that's like the worst freaking thing about the business. It makes you want to like not even be in business, because these are grown people that you're trying to freaking babysit. It's like the worst. But as to answer your question about finding them, I mean, my first employee was a second cousin of mine, so it was like family. He was great. He eventually moved on. My next employee was another cousin of mine.
There's a pattern here.
So just like family. Yeah. And then there's been some in between, but the team is made up right now of like 2 in production, 2 in the screen room, 1 with customers, and then an artist. And to be clear on the artist, it's graphic source. So I do count them as my team. I mean, we talk every single day, good morning, have a good night, have a good weekend. How was your vacation? How was, so like, we're very like, he's very much part of the team at graphic source. so yeah, I mean, like, but to find them, I mean, it's like I've been family, and then I guess just like locally, like, it's all been through like friends and family. It's all been that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
It's never. I've tried many times to put a post out on whether it's like social or like job posting boards here in the States, but you just don't know who you're getting. You know what I mean? And you take a chance on them, like, it's just it could be like a huge headache, because especially if they're just like, you don't know who they are, and you know, you're like bringing them into your t-shirt like sanctuary, like your business, that's your baby, and it's so hard. You don't want to just throw somebody in there and then they mess up potentially your equipment. They're stealing, I don't know, stealing something, stealing time. So
stealing
it's all
time,
been friends and
Jonathan,
family.
that's so good.
Yeah,
they're stealing your time
sure.
off you.
Yeah,
that's
for
really
sure.
cool.
Like, my guys, they clock in and out, they can edit their time, so that's probably not the best like checks and balances, but I do trust them. And that's where I mean by like stealing time. They could be like freaking at home clocking in or something, you know what I mean? I obviously do payroll and review the hours every week, so I do keep an eye on it, but that's what I mean by like, yeah, stealing time, or, you know, just like goofing off at work all the time. But yeah,
it's tricky though, isn't it? But you seem to have managed to get your hands off the printing. Was that like a priority for you, like get your hands off as soon as possible, so you're working on it a bit more? Do you miss it, or?
Yeah. So it's 100% the truth. Yeah, like I don't print ever, unless the only time I'm in like getting pulled into production is like maybe to catch at the end of the dryer so we can have a 3-person team, you know, on press, and it could be cranking. That's if it's like a 600 order, 1,000 piece, 1,400 piece, you know, like a big order. Then like it just makes so much sense to have a third person in there, and that's when I'll be in there. But yeah, like being off press is, to me, very important for me. I know there's 1,000 people who want to be on press, and that's like where they make their strides, and they love it. So that's great for them. For me, I'm more just like trying to me, I feel like the customer side of things and the artwork side of things is monumental, because if you're not taking care of those like customers and they're not getting a quick response and their artwork isn't great, you're not going to have nothing to print. It's not going to matter what the freak you got going on in the production. Like, you need to keep customers coming in. You want new equipment, you want new software, you want new employees, like it all, you got to have more business, you got to have more money and customers. So if you don't have somebody else like driving that on the customer side of things and the sales and the artwork, because you're stuck on press, like, I don't see how you would kind of, you know, go up and grow. You got to have, again, I know there's probably like husband and wife shops where the husband's on press and the wife is growing the business on the customer side of things, which is fantastic. But for me at the time, it was like I didn't have like that. It was like just me alone. So then I hired the first guy, taught him everything I could on the press so that I could step in with customers. And now I'm not even with the customers, and I have somebody for that. And biggest freaking game changer there ever was, like, having somebody to deal with the customers, not even you, has been like amazing for like my mental health. Like, it's been so nice. But yeah, to me, getting off press for me was a priority. And I never print, and I trust my guys. I have 2 printers, and I trust them more than I trust me, honestly. Like, I'll go in there and they'll be like, they'll be trying to troubleshoot a job or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm more like, well, what do y'all think? Like, you guys are here 40 hours a week, both of y'all, 40 hours a week. Like, like, you tell me what you think. So yeah, I trust my printers more than I do at this point. I love those guys. Yeah.
So, like, what kind of things did you set them up with? Did you have you guided them towards like Plasol ink, because it's like easier to get your head around, and like other customers, or are you water-based, or what kind of decisions did you make there?
Yeah, so like they have only ever been like, my guys, honestly, like, they know what I've taught them. Like, they don't like do their own research or nothing. They probably never even heard of water-based ink. Like, they only do Plastisol. They wouldn't know how to print manually. Like, they've only ever printed automatically with an automatic. So yeah, I mean, I've taught them just with Plastisol, and taught them, you know, until this,
it works, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Until this day, like, we're still learning though. So there's still certain jobs, certain fabrics, certain inks that we're messing with that like we got to learn how to use. So it's still like learning. But yeah, I mean, from day one, it was like always just process solve.
Yeah. It's sad to hear a little bit like they wouldn't do their own research, because you always think everyone's like you, like killer. A little nerdy geek, and you're like, I'm such a geek for it. I'd be doing it even if I wasn't being paid.
I think about that all the time. I wish so bad like they had that in them to be like, but like also I don't blame them. Like, they're just coming, doing a job, getting paid, going home to their family. So it's okay. Like it's fair. But there are definitely other shops out there who have printers who are going home and watching the shirt show and watching Printalo and learning and in the group. So I wish I had that. I've never even told them, hey, there's all this resources if y'all want to check out. So I haven't even done it on my part. Maybe I need to, introduce them to some stuff, and they might freaking go down that rabbit hole and love it. But I've never even done it myself for them. So maybe that would be the first step. You know what I mean? Yeah. They don't even know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that. So your kind of clientele, is it mainly local community-based stuff? Because it seems like local businesses, charities, sporting, but you tell me if it's anything else.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know the percentage or nothing, but I would probably say like 80% local, maybe not even that high, maybe 70% local. But yeah, it's like for sure, probably like our biggest, like number one customer base is schools and the organizations inside of schools. So not just the school, but like, student programs and sports inside of the school. That's for sure, like probably our biggest. And then there's like churches, and then there's a couple clothing brands that keep us very busy. So I would say those top three are, up there. For me personally, I would like to get more into like the trades, like plumbing, electrical, like those contractors, because I feel like when the pandemic hit, like I feel like those were the only guys out on the road. Like you go down the road and it was like all those like tradesmen were out on the roads, like still working. Like, and the pandemic was like the worst thing to ever happen to like any businesses. But those guys were still out there, it seemed like they didn't stop. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like I want to get more construction, basically more construction guys. And I think we do some, but I would like to make that a big more portion of the business.
Yeah, because it did sound like you were diversified then, but actually, if you just looked at it in the context of COVID, you actually were quite fragile there, weren't you? Like with schools and like all of those things all closing down at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't know what it like. COVID was still like our biggest year at that point. Like every year was bigger, and then COVID still was a big year. I guess I would say it was probably like the clothing brands that kept us busy. So it wasn't too bad. Obviously March and May and June. I mean, that was like zero, but the whole year was a bigger year than the previous year. So yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about like all the different resources in the industry and stuff. Do you actually go to the trade shows over there? Because you have access to loads of trade shows.
Yeah, I've gone to, I think, two. Both of them were ISS. ISS. I went to Long Beach once, and one in Fort Worth. Yeah, they're interesting. They're fun for sure. If I'm going, it's gonna be going like to hang out with other print shops, because like I don't know. I feel like everything there is probably that you could see like online or see something or read up on it or something. But I mean, it's cool to see the equipment for sure. But yeah, I've gone to a couple. In the future, I'll go to more for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if the suppliers know this. They should probably hear us out, because a few years ago, it used to be like, go and see what the equipment is. But now it's like, we know what the equipment is. We're just going here to see our friends. So it's just like a big hangout now. Like our one is really tiny. Like, ours is super tiny. But everyone's like, oh, you have to come up on the Sunday. We're having like a huge dinner with 20 of us. And I'm like, oh, I'm missing that. Awesome. Yeah, I'm missing it because I'm going to I'm working at a tattoo convention, but I'm like really gutted. It's just become a big like hangout cool club. So
are you printing t-shirts? Are you printing t-shirts at the tattoo convention?
We're selling the shirts that we've got for our brand because we did
cool.
Yeah, we did another tattoo convention, just a local one, and it went like really well. So we're like, okay, let's try and do this on a scale.
So are you doing Waterbased?
We do all sorts, but yeah, we're Waterbased definitely has its place with our kind of designs, and there's nothing to say like it would be 50-50 choice with Waterbased or plaster for us.
And you're on your manual shop only, or do you have an auto?
Yeah, no, just manual. We haven't.
Okay, cool.
Because I was on the trajectory where I was going to be like, okay, I need a auto, and then I started like pushing away some of those kind of commercial jobs. So now I'm like, why do I need an auto? Why do I need to do the jump?
Yeah.
But I have gone around the big industrial units quite a few times going, okay, this is where the auto goes. I've got to like almost there, but I've just never really jumped there. The timing was perfect. It was like one of those things where if I had done it, I would have ruined myself because it was like, but thank God I didn't jump when I tried to jump.
That's good. Yeah.
But you never know these things, do you? But yeah, no. It seems like you've really capitalized on like how your studio is set up, like with the premises and all that type of thing. Like, are you seeing expansion there? Like, does your family not care how much of this land you take up because you're just gonna piling on as much as you want?
They don't freaking care. They'll give me all the land if I want it. But yeah, I definitely know like, I feel like I have a good idea of how big I want to get there. I don't ever plan to leave there. But I do think, I might be completely wrong, but I think I'll probably only be like a 2 auto shop and try to keep it there at some point. And so, with that in mind, you can kind of figure out how much space you're going to, how big of a building you're going to need with what's already there. So I'll probably stay there for a while, but as it is right now, I feel like I finally got everything I need the way I want it, and we can really crank out a lot of shirts at this point. Maybe with one more team member, I feel like we can stay at this space, this spot, this layout for a very long time, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was about to ask you what the sweet spot for your business would be, but you're saying like 2 autos, and that seems
and that just kind of seems like what you probably hear like Dylan and Andy talk in the shirt show, like they've done it, they've seen it, they talk to a lot of industry people, like it kind of seems like that's where you want to be, 2 or 3 auto shop and where you're going to be like the most profitable. But I mean, we'll see where it goes. So I'm just kind of going off of them. I don't know, like, honestly, I might get to that point and be like, wanting to do more or something, but we'll see. I mean, don't know for sure until you get there.
Surely anything above 2 autos is contract work, which sounds like everyone I talk to who's doing a bit of contract work, they're like, I'm trying to ease that out. They're not like, I want more contract work. So that's when you need that enormous capacity of like 18,000 shirts by the end of the week or something like that, which
that's crazy. A
bit too scary. One of the questions that I wanted to ask was like, do you have an unpopular opinion that is like contrary to what everyone else thinks in the industry? It's a really hard question though.
It is a hard question because I saw it and I was really thinking about it. I didn't think too long. I just looked at it right before we started recording, and I guess what I kind of came up with, and I don't even know if it's a good answer at all, but like I'm more like, I guess I feel like at this point, and it might change over the years, and it has changed over the years already, but like I do remember really like loving the craft of screen printing and seeing the artwork come to life, especially when I was the one creating the artwork and separating the artwork and making the screens and printing it. I remember just being like, boom, like it's so like fulfilling and it's so like rewarding. So I was about the craft of screen printing for like a long time. But now that like I never print and I never make screens and I never make artwork, I'm so focused on like the business side of things and just becoming profitable and making sure the employees are happy and making sure they can get paid well and making sure we're not dealing with no crappy customers, only good customers, like that kind of stuff. That's where I'm at right now. So like, I guess like my unpopular opinion is just like, I'm not so worried about like screen printing and the craft of it, like where people love that. I'm more focused like on the business right now. In 10 years, it might change, and it has changed again, like I said, but right now I'm just like, I'm more about like becoming profitable and, you know, building a good solid team around screen printing, and not so much with all the different inks and all the different techniques and all the different equipment. Only equipment that's making us move quicker, kind of things. But yeah, that's what I kind of came up with.
Yeah, I think that's a really honest way of describing it, because you don't know what other people are experiencing in their businesses. You can't see their books. You can't see if they are profitable, if they're big and making it looks like they're making lots of turnover, but you don't know how much profit they're making. They might be struggling, and then a smaller studio might be doing amazing. So I'm really interested in all the numbers and stuff as well. Like even on the micro scale this, I track it every single Monday and we have a little meeting. But no, I understand that. So you've kind of gone from a crafts person to just almost a pure businessman, basically. That's where I'm at right now. Yeah. Wiping your tears with your money.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. All the haters. Do you want to like talk about, has anyone in your family been like self-employed business people as well? Like, is that anything you can like turn to in your own family where they've got businesses as well?
I mean, I have a cousin who's super successful, like farther away from me, but we're not too close. And but I mean, I know he has a great business. But as far as like my immediate family, like my parents or my sisters, like I guess I should say my older sister, I mean, she's kind of the reason I ever even got into screen printing. She was selling stuff on Etsy, like garage sale and reseller stuff. So like, she was on Etsy a lot and selling on there. And I was, at the time I was, I guess 20 or something. And I was like wanting to make just extra money. You know, I was working retail in college and I was like, I just want to make extra money. And she pointed out like on Etsy, she's like, look at these shops who are selling t-shirts. Like you should maybe, because I was into artwork a lot. So she's like, maybe you could sell your artwork on the t-shirts. And so I kind of went that route, and I did make some money on Etsy selling t-shirts. And that was my first like inclination to like make money doing t-shirts. And so I got to give her some credit because she was like the one who was there on Etsy already selling. But also growing up, my dad had always kind of, I think, put that in me to, you know, like don't climb the ladder, like own the ladder kind of thing. So he was like the one to kind of always help me along the way. So I got to give him a lot of credit too, because anything during all these years, still now, if something comes up and I need help in the shop, or you know, him and my mom, they're there to help me and, you know, encourage me, because it hasn't been easy the last 5 years to get like even where I'm at now. And they're always been there to help me. So, but yeah, as far as like business and entrepreneurship, like those are the only two that come to mind.
Yeah, because like I'm from a big family, and then it's like cut half and half. Like some of them are employed, and then like there's the entrepreneurial ones, and our minds are just not in the same place at all. I just can't have a discussion about business because they just say shit that just doesn't even make sense, and you're like, you have no idea. And they're like suggesting shit. They're suggesting like shirts that I should do, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Who am I selling these to? You're mad. And
I know. That stuff goes like, I got the same stuff in my world, and it just goes out the other ear. I'm like, you don't know, like maybe they mean well, but like, I don't know, there's a way to say it too. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's like, I always feel in my head, the answer I give was like, oh, okay, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But the actual thing that's going in my head is like, if you think it's such a good idea, you do it. I haven't
exactly.
I taught myself how to do all this, so you go ahead and make your millions doing it. It's kind of like that whole thing of ideas aren't worth anything. Like everyone's got ideas.
Yeah.
but it's the execution which is the difficult thing. So
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, just go off on one about like not being understood. But,
yeah.
But so do you want to like is there any like special shop hacks or anything that you figured out during the years, or you're just like, my shop hack is being more profitable? Even if it's like dealing with customers and stuff.
Yeah. I think something even like in the last year I've just kind of like been more on is like, well, one, I mean, there's so many things I'm thinking about. Like one that's like not even shop hacks, but just like obvious things that were like kind of game changers for me was honestly having like graphic source handle my artwork. Before, I was spending hours and hours and hours of artwork, and then the customer wants to go back and forth, and then so you're spending that time, and then they might not like it. I mean, huge hassle. And then you got to separate the artwork, a lot of time. When I handed all that to graphic source, it was like a game changer. So like, I don't know if that's like a shop hack, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, dang, like I can't afford graphic source, and because they're however much a month, and like, so I would say you gotta continue to like grind, focus on sales, focus on keeping your current customers happy, so that you can afford that, and you can afford team members. Another thing that was like so then after I had graphic source, I was still dealing with the customer back and forth. Graphic source had the artwork, but I'm still dealing with the customer. So asking, they're asking 100 questions a day, texting me, blowing me up. When I handed that off to another person, like it was literally just, it was like a different business. Like it's like everything I worked for the last 12 years, like it all like came, like when I handed my customers off to somebody to do a good job and the artwork was gone, like I didn't have like nothing else to do. Like printers were there.
Space to
yeah. So those were just like some major like the last like 12 years, it's kind of just hard, and you're like trying to just do the best you can, and you're to the point where you're like, I mean, there was like times where I would like cry, like the business would make me cry because the customers were pounding on my door and can't get the jobs out. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there's never looked like there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, and you're just like, I can't be doing this for the next 50 years. Like this, I hate this. It's too much work. Can't like get it out quick enough. There's not enough hours in the day, all that. But whenever I had the artwork taken care of and the customers taken care of and the printing taken care of, like it was like, okay, wait, like I did it. Like I finally got to this point. And the last 2 years have been like the nicest years of business ever. And you can't do any of that. You can't hire any team members if you don't have like, decent customers paying you what you need to be paid. So I guess like my big like shop hack is like, you need to get your money up. You need to get your sales up. You need to like cold call, cold email, DM, go shake hands at the local elementaries, the local schools, at the school, do all the networking you can, because you can't, if you're like, trying to just, be the cheapest printer, like I feel like you're always going to be in the shop. You got to be able to pay these people to do this job. And now like with a team in place, like in all the teams in place, like jobs can freaking come in and go out the door quick, like, and we can process a lot of orders. And so basically, if you don't have sales, you can't hire team members. And if you don't have team members, you're probably going to hate your life. Because I certainly, like, I don't want to say I hated my life, but I mean, it puts you through the ringer. Like it'll like, because there's not enough hours in the day and you're trying to run around, do everything, and dropping the ball here and there. So having the team members that know what they're doing is like the best thing ever. Love it.
Yeah. No, I think for a second there, you did describe something that I've experienced too, where you hit a wall of overwhelm and you're like, you're like, I'm at capacity now for what I can take on. And then you're still looking around thinking, I'm still not making as much as I wanted to make, or like, I'm not doing this as well as I should be because I'm too tired and stressed and worried and everything.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's not, I don't need more of this. I just need to sort what I've got. Yeah. I think external team members is a huge resource that now we can use because we've got the internet, and we've got lots of people working from home and all that type of thing as well, like remote workers.
Yeah,
it's really
and
good
not only like is it important to get your sales up for team members and having a good team in place, but like equipment isn't cheap. Like we have like the CTS, like an iMage, and we're able to build out a little bit more of the shop for a nice screen room that's temperature controlled. And you just can't do any of that if you're not charging a decent price for your stuff. And I don't want to also give the impression of like that we're like more expensive than everybody. Like I definitely work with customers on price all the time. If I can crunch the numbers and we're still going to make money, like, heck yeah, like I'll come down price and we'll print it as long as we're making money. But like, or if I know that customer has a network of people who also might want t-shirts, like I'll definitely come out down price. So I don't want to also come off like I'm just like transactional and like trying to get the biggest bag of money from every customer. It's not like that. Like I'm 100% about building a relationship with the customer that will hopefully pay off over time. So I've done that always over from the beginning. So yeah, I don't want to be like it's all like about the money, because it's not. But I mean, you can't do nothing if you don't have like sales coming in.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is if you are employing someone, pay them above what everyone else is. Like be competitive on your wages. Like whatever we're doing, we're always trying to. We don't just go, oh, what's minimum wage for this person? We go, okay, what is a salary that's going to make them feel valued at work? That's the question. You did say something a little while ago, which was like cold call, cold email. That sounds like you're not scared to do that. And I think a lot of people go, oh yeah, but that's really trashy or whatever. But it's not. It's going after you're like hunting down very specific people who you would love to do business with.
Yeah.
So why not? It's just
like, just to clarify on that too, like it definitely sucks and it's definitely not fun. Like you're not sitting there like, and also like, let's be clear. Like also I am not sitting down every single day and cold calling. I have, and I've tried, and it's not fun. And you've had people like, get mad at you, and it's very uncomfortable. But like at the end of the day, like I swear it works. I've sent more cold emails than cold calls. I've done cold calls too, but more cold emails. I actually had hired, I don't want to mess up his last name, but you might have seen him in like on Printavo stuff, Kevin Baumgart with Set Sales. Have you heard of him through Printavo stuff? Okay. Well, I hired him and Set Sales. And I mean, he really like kind of gave me some like strategies and scripting and stuff. And I haven't put it all the way to test, but I've definitely used some of it. And like, we've gotten business from it. It's crazy just by sending like, it's not just about one like cold email. It's all about like the follow-up from what I've learned. And like, you gotta hit them with like 4 follow-ups, like literally. Definitely. And I'll give one example to give some people out there some motivation. Like even before Kevin, back in 2019, I was cold emailing churches like all around the nation. I would go to their website, find their email.
You're like, what religion am I now? Exactly. I'm any religion you want me to be. Thank God. At the end.
But I was gonna say, like, I emailed so many churches, and one of them like landed, and they hit me back up. And that one customer till this year, like, they do like 25,000 in sales with me every year off of the freaking cold email. And if that doesn't like tell you anything, and if you experience that for yourself off of just going to a website, emailing once you experience that for yourself, it's like a no-brainer. Like, why are you not sending 1 billion emails a day kind of thing? I think Google has like some limits to where you don't become like spam. So you definitely want you do your research and do it the right way. But it clearly works. And there's obviously, I mean, organizations out there that's all they do is cold call and cold email. So like, and they do it 8 hours a day. So it works. It's a lot of work. But if you have that like opportunity and you have capacity to grow, it's like, why are you not doing that? But again, like it's all, everybody does what they want to do. And I know some people, like you said, probably find that very like trashy and don't want to do that. But I mean, like, honestly, if you look at it like you're helping those people, like if they're coming to you, like if they're coming to you, they probably not having the best experience at their current print shop, or if you give them a better price or better turnaround time, I mean, like how in the world is that trashy if you're like helping them? If you're harassing somebody and they've already said cut it out, and they already said don't call me, they already said don't email me, and you're still going at it, okay, yeah, that's trashy 100%. But if they unsubscribe from your email, because you got to have like unsubscribe or don't contact me at the bottom of all the emails, and if you have that, and you're not harassing nobody, then it's all good. You're just dipping into their inbox. They can let you know, thank you, no thank you. I have people all the time like literally like email back like, oh, thank you, we're already happy with our current printer. And if people again aren't interested, they'll just like unsubscribe or whatever. So it worked. It's crazy. Even last week I was maybe last week, this week, where are we at? It's Thursday, maybe this week. Like I was cold emailing like breweries around, like beer companies and breweries, because clearly like we all hear like they freaking do a lot of business.
They do. We did a whole year on them.
yeah, exactly. Well, one of them off the second follow-up, it was like the cold email, nothing. Then they got the automatic second follow-up. I swear, Chessie is crazy. Like this morning, they emailed me back. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off, and I might not because I'm not already doing it. But they said they wanted like, they're like, he gave me a quote for 1,000. Like what was it? Cups koozies. That change the colors. Oh. Yeah, right. Not koozies, but actual cups. But basically some promotional products which we don't do. So I don't know if I'm gonna look into it. But to me, that's freaking crazy. Like they're like, yeah, let's get a quote for 1,000 koozies, and I looked at the prices. It could be like almost a $1,200, $1,500 invoice, like out of like thin air, like literally didn't have that. And now you email them and now you have that. And that church was just one example. That was just one example. There's been other ones, like there's been other like ones I reached out to, and they say, yeah, let's do business. And it's not just that one transaction. It's like, we're talking like, like every year. So
yeah, there's like money out there on the table, and there's enough for everyone.
Yeah. You got me fired up right now. I want to go do some emails right now.
I know. But there's loads of things that you just said, like, first of all, targeting industries. And I hadn't actually thought of it as cold calling, but I think I do that because I make a list of all the breweries, for example, in the local area. And then I'll just put their logo on loads of mock-ups and send it to them as if they've already asked me for it.
I've done that. Yes.
Not like lying and saying, oh, this is the mock-up you asked, but saying that this is what I can produce. And I've even made like duffel bags, gone and delivered them. And you have to hit them. Yeah, I know what you mean. So you can't just go, oh, here's an email. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry. Because that's like giving someone a flyer on the street and them go, no, I don't want it. You have to keep propping up with your logo wherever they look. And it's, you have to kind of come at lots of different angles.
I used to do that too with the mock-ups, like literally just pull their logo from their website or Facebook, put it on a mock-up, send it to them, and be like, well, this is what we could do. The only thing like with that, obviously, it's not too scalable. Like you can't do that 300 times a week. You know what I mean? But emails you can send literally 300 times a week and it's automated. But yeah, I know what you mean. I used to do that too. Like years ago, like 2018, I used to do that.
Yeah. I've done it specifically for people who I really want. Like there was like a cheerleading group locally, and I went to town on them and I got them.
Yeah.
I'd like relentless. Awesome. But I think one of the things that might have made it so that this is your kind of approach is the fact that you don't have customers really like walking up to your premises. You don't rely on passing trade. So you're not sat there in your print shop waiting for people to knock on the door and say, well, can I have this, and waste your time? Because I've had them at the door, and I'm going to say 1% are a really good job. 98% is just guff, and you're just trying to get rid of them. If you set up anywhere, would you always do that, or would you ever consider having some kind of presence in the town?
No, I've heard like I wouldn't even consider it. I've heard enough on Printavo and the Shirt Show. Like I've heard enough people say that. Well, I mean, there's also people who it probably works for, so I don't want to talk down on it too much. But clearly,
there's different business models, but
yeah. And someone who like inspires me a lot is obviously like Dylan from Upstate Merch. Like he's in the middle of nowhere, just like I am. Like I have 400 people in my town, like I think like him. and the dude's killing it, like 3 automatics, like all the team members, like, I mean, the dude's crushing it. So like, clearly it works. You don't need the rent and you don't need the walk-ins. Maybe, 20 years ago and 30 years ago you did, because there's no internet or whatever, but not anymore. So to me, I feel like I wouldn't even entertain that idea, but yeah. And then also, like, if you do want that traffic, like if you are going to pay $5,000 a month for rent somewhere, like why not put $5,000 a month into like Facebook ads that you can target, or Google ads that you can, when they search like your first one up, like 5,000 is a lot of freaking money. I'm sure if you test it well, you can figure out where 5,000 will make an impact on your business. So I'm personally like zero interested in having like a brick and mortar place. But I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes too. I mean, I might change my mind one day.
Yeah. I think there is certain things that you could offer where it does make sense. Like if you are doing, I don't know, like if you're putting names on football shirts, you're interested in doing, like where we are, if you're a trade person, your team is incredibly small. Like you don't get plumbers where there's 50 plumbers. You get like 5 plumbers.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
If you're kind of like going for local trades-people, then that makes sense, because they do want to walk in, try the garment on, feel it, chat to you, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that is customers that you'd lose by shutting the door. But also you've just got bloody room to think where they're not knocking on the door is just like, if I knew about that at the beginning. But then maybe I wouldn't be in the position I am if I didn't kind of grind through all that stuff and initially and find out.
For sure. I mean, it works. Obviously there's tons of shops who do have that, and it works. So like you said, different business models. So I don't want to talk down on it at all, because clearly it works for a billion shops.
But also they might have actual retail at the very front of their shop. That seems to be a trend. So then that kind of makes sense, because they're selling to the people who are the walk-ins.
100%.
Yeah. I think if you give yourself too much free time, like hiring and delegating, then you'll probably do your own brand and just be like, guys, this is what we're printing now. Because you've still got that in your back of your head, haven't you, with your designing?
Oh, so. I do. I'll give a little shout out to what I got going on, because I have thought about it, especially it like came during COVID. But like, are you familiar with like meme accounts, like meme accounts, like funny memes? Yeah. Well, there's like a ton of meme accounts that sell merch, like clearly. So, and I love coffee. So during COVID, I started a coffee meme page on Instagram. And yeah, honestly, I do plan to.
What is it called? Because I have to look it up in a minute.
It's called Coffee Demeanor. Like
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and we're posting there all the time. So yeah, you can look it up. And yeah, I do plan, once it's hit like 1 million followers in 10 years, whenever it is, not soon. I know it takes forever to build up, but yeah, once it has a good enough audience, like I do plan to drop a coffee t-shirt or something along those lines, so I can print a $6 shirt and sell it for $35 online to that audience. But that's way in the future. It's not even like that big of a focus right now. We post on there all the time, but Success Print Shop is the bread and butter right now, and it's my main focus.
But those kind of things do accidentally get out of control on their own. They're like little beasts that take over and stuff. It's kind of like our t-shirt brand was just the stuff that we're printing in our YouTube videos, and it was kind of like an excess, and then that's like grown on its own more than we assumed and stuff like that. So so if you had like one new piece of kit that you were able to get, what would you get now? Or do you think you're pretty set? Or like, what have you got any like?
I think the next
where's the friction in the shop, do you reckon?
Yeah, I feel like the next step wouldn't be equipment. It probably would be, and I might be wrong, but it would probably be like building out more of the shop. Because like I don't even know how much we don't have to do the square foot, but it's a small space for sure. I mean, I have my automatic and I have 2 shipping containers, and that makes up the shop. Oh, like for example, like counting in garments is a complete nightmare in my shop. You almost want to do it after hours when everybody's gone. I don't count in garments, but I know the guys that do, like, big hassle. They're just like stepping over each other, stepping over the boxes, stepping near the press, huge hassle. So I think the very next move would be to build out an area, even if it's another shipping container, honestly, for just counting in garments. That was never thought about whenever I initially kind of built everything out. It was never thought about, and now it's a huge like pain point, I feel like. And my guys, I tell them too, like I'll ask them like, man, is this like a hassle? Or and I don't know if they're lying to me or they're cool. And they're like, but they tell me it's like not that big a deal. But to me, like I have gone in there whenever it's like super busy and counted a few garments, and it's a big hassle. So I feel like the next thing would be to like build out more space, honestly.
Yeah.
As far as equipment, I mean, I know we're so far away from it, but I would love like a auto reclaim, like, I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing because you could just like, it seems like you can just crank on them. You could just put like a ton of screens through it. Nobody has to mess with it, but I know that the ROI, and if you do the numbers, like you got to be doing like a lot of screens to make it make sense. But yeah.
I just
what about you?
I want to put a dirty bike through it, by the way, and just see what happens at the other end.
Oh, I know.
I would just be putting loads of shit through it just because I'm annoyed. But
what kind of equipment are you trying to get?
I'm actually really set. Like everything's paid off. I have no stress.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's been the aim for a little bit. So we're umming and ahhing about things that we're going to do this year, but I'm the one who's always like leading us off on new things, but I'm supposed to be like following the plan and waiting for things to grow and putting in the work and just growing things. So I shouldn't be distracted by new shiny toys just now, but I think maybe to make my screen production a bit quicker, I could have a little LED exposure unit alongside my huge big monster one. But no, I don't need.
Do you have one of the ones where you put the screens on the wall and then it shoots?
Not quite. It's along the same kind of lines. It's like a metal halide bulb, but it's like a whole massive unit, which is almost the whole room. And it's just coming from doing huge artwork pieces. So I've used the same one. And I can put like, if I wanted to, I could put about 5 or 6 t-shirt screens on it all at the same time.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's a shop that like that's local to me, like 20 minutes away from me. They have 12 or 14 automatics, like huge shop. And they've been around for 30 years. They're great people, and they still have exactly what you have. Like they still shoot. And I think printed threads, printed threads in Fort Worth, Brett printed. He has the same thing. Like they have that, what you have, like where they shoot like 5 screens at a time, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It is the gold standard, but it's not like quick. It's like minutes. It's not like what everyone else is like saying seconds. But then again, I can get incredible tiny little halftones and do crazy shit if I want to. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I can't give it up. All my little relics and flatbeds that I don't really use very often. I'm actually, I think I'm quite content in this little space and having everything just about that I need. So I don't need mass production.
That's good.
But yeah, I know what you mean though. I do kind of also look at the shiny toys and want those as well. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell people about the shop, or like is there any encouragement that you found to like really benefited your shop?
I mean, like as far as encouragement, like I would just say to like anybody out there like who's trying to grow, is like what I kind of said in the beginning of the podcast, is like just learn from everybody else who's done it already. Like, I mean, obviously that's like such an obvious thing, but like maybe some people don't. Some people are just trying to do it on their own and
maybe they're just listening to radio or something.
Exactly. And there's like no need to do that stuff. Like clearly, like so many podcasts and audiobooks. So it's like go learn and take action on it. which is hard to say when you're like a one person shop or something, and you're like manually printing. Like, when the heck are you gonna have time to like go take action on what you learned or whatever? So I've been there, but I guess I would say, just continue to do a good job for your customers so they can refer more customers and grow your business, grow your team, and then you can take all the action you want on some other stuff on the weekends and on the weeknights and stuff. So yeah, that'd be like my advice.
Yeah, I think you're a really good model for people to look at, and also I would advise people to look up what you did a few years ago as well, and do like a little contrast, because it's quite dramatic, but also you've done exactly what you said you were going to do. If you like put you back in time. So for sure. It's good to document these things, because then in 10 years you're like, oh yeah, actually I don't screen print anymore. I just do coffee demeanor. That's gone crazy.
Exactly.
Now I've got my own prime drink.
That's the plan.
With all the influencers and stuff. Yeah, that would be funny.
That's funny.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And
no, thank you for having me. I was excited to do it. Thank you.